Well, this is going to be awkward. I just want to talk about songwriting, but it'll make me feel better if I say this first. I'm not saying I know anything or I'm an authority on any of this. I've been writing songs for a long time. And just like anybody else, I come up with those moments of writer's block, I guess. And then I found myself getting on YouTube, looking up songwriting videos or tips. And I personally haven't found anything that really was what I wanted to be hearing. Not that any of them are bad. There's some nuggets of wisdom, I guess, here and there. But for the most part, it all seemed real mechanical to me. And, stuff like which chords go together, how to put a scale together. And to be honest, I don't really know that stuff that well. And I probably could have tried harder to learn music theory, but I've learned a little bit along the way. I think that's kind of the right way to learn it. To have fun making music and accidentally learn lessons along the way. Because, I don't know. It maybe, again, just for me, coming across videos that showed me how to put chords together or how to put rhymes together, it didn't help. So, maybe this will help for somebody that was looking for the same thing that I was looking for. I just put out 4 videos, and maybe friend of a friend is a good one to kind of focus on. I might mention some other ones here and there, and I might never do this again if nobody cares, or if they're, feel like I'm given bad advice. I don't know. But let's take friend of a friend. The whole thing started, let me break it down musically first. I was going through a Chet Baker kind of thing. I don't know. I was just digging on some Chet Baker. If y'all never listen to Chet Baker, he's awesome. Wait, am I remembering that name right? My Funny Valentine. Look that dude up if you haven't. Look up My Funny Valentine. Pretty sure it's Chet Baker. But I was just digging all that kind of music, and I wanted to write something that had that kind of feel. And I don't know, like when you're in E, that B7, it just has some kind of feel that I guess that reminded me of it, right? So that's what I was going for. And as far as how the song came together, I did come up with it started off with the idea of what I wanted to talk about, but focusing on the music, I did come up with that riff of the... And that, I just sat and played, and then started singing some lyrics for it. And I would say most of the time, it starts off with me having a guitar riff that I play and then I can sing to. And musically, if I was given any advice, which maybe you shouldn't take, because I'm just some dude. But being able to just play a riff and then start singing whatever, making noises or jibber jabber, it's a good thing to practice. And practice not caring if you sound good. Just have fun playing a riff and then saying whatever you had to say. Now this one specifically, I knew what I wanted to say. But coming around to the chorus of that song, this is a tip that I haven't seen anybody, put out there, is I already knew from playing that riff and then singing what I wanted to sing to it, I knew what I wanted to continue singing. And so when I would get to that spot while I'm playing, I just stopped and continued singing. And then I worked backwards from the original idea of you know, I know this melody already. Now I got to find the chords that go along with the melody, which no, I think I messed that up. But you get what I'm saying. Is sometimes just forget about the guitar part coming first, because if you got a musical idea of what you're singing, just follow that one and then figure out the chords that back it up. And that's what I did on this one. So I do the same thing sometimes with other songs. There's one I'm working on that is going to be a fun video to put together, and maybe y'all will like it. It's going to be a song called You Better Find a Way to Be Happy with What You Got. And when I started this song, I don't even remember the chord progression that I was singing to anymore, and it was a whole different thing. But I came around to a chorus and started singing, you know, just automatically. I started singing the lines that I'm using for the chorus, and then I had to go back and change the verse. I was like, it doesn't fit anymore, this is better, I'm following that. And so I threw away the whole verse, the whole thing I started the whole song with. And then I came around to not knowing what to play, and I switched to, I couldn't figure out what I wanted to play and sing. So I thought, what would I do on bass instead? I'm a bass player in the band that I'm actually in. And so I started playing a bass line. I'm not going to show you that because it's going to be a really fun video. Later on, it'll be a big surprise. I guess not a surprise because I'm telling about it. But sometimes just switch shifts, especially if you're playing on guitar, or I guess it'd probably be the same on piano, but just think, because, you know, when I'm making up a bass line, I still use my guitar. It's what am I going to play on bass? And it led to that song getting completed, and it's awesome. But yeah, switch gears sometimes. Think about a different instrument. You have a guitar part, forget about the guitar part and think about what it is that you want to sing, or, you know, any mix in there. Now, when it came to the content and lyrics, a lot of times that's what I was really looking for. It's the hardest part for me, as I'm sure it is for a lot of other people. So, man, there's just things that come up in life, sometimes conversations you have, and you can't help but remember them. Everybody. Like, I'm not just saying me. Like, I'm an artist, and I fucking remember these great conversations that I pulled ideas from. Everybody does that. And I was personally going through some things that fit in with a conversation I had with somebody, a really good friend of mine, who was talking to a friend of his dad. And my friend, who was talking about the friend of his dad, said that he was in marriage counseling, and at some point the therapist took him aside and told him, if you don't start roughing this girl up a little bit, you're going to lose her. Which is awful and weird and a strange thing to tell a man that, like, loves a woman, that you're going to have to start being mean to her or you're going to lose her, because I guess this woman had been through some rough experiences, bad relationships, and I didn't find out till years later, and after I wrote this song, right after, because I called my friend and told him, I was like, hey dude, I used, you know, this idea that you told me about. I was like, I put it in this song with the line of, I'll never know how much they hurt you, all I can see is that they did, and I might never know how much you liked it, but I'm worried you did, or, you know, whatever the line is. It's hard to remember when I'm not singing it. But that's a powerful feeling that somebody, you know, in that guy's situation would have, of you want this person so bad, but you're gonna have to treat them in a way that you don't think they deserve to be treated, and you don't want to be the person that does it. If you want them to stick around, it's crazy. And then I found out when I called my friend to tell him, I'm like, hey, check it out, I put this line in a song, and I was like, hey, how did that work out? And he couldn't do it, and they got divorced. And that's awful. There's no lesson to learn from that. I'm not trying to put out a lesson there, because you should never mistreat somebody that you love. But that's where that line came from, of, you know, I'd hurt you too. I would do anything to help you get through. Because, man, this is a hopeless situation. And I guess that comes around to maybe a third bit of advice of saying things without saying things. I don't know. A lot of times when I'm thinking about lyrics, I'm thinking, how do I say something without saying it? My favorite example I could give you, like, not even from one of my songs, forget my songs, it's Outkast in Spotty Yachty Doublelicious. Andre 3000 has a line, and he says, I was so engulfed in the OE, I never made it to the door. Or, well, maybe once. But, blah, 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 and he goes on from there. I don't remember the line. But the way he says, well, perhaps once. You know, in the context of how he's saying it, you get the idea that he's being cheeky. And he's like, I didn't ever do that. I might even be thinking of the wrong line, but it's definitely in that song. It's that part. And if you listen to it, you'll know and you'll recognize those moments that every one of us has done it, or we've been around somebody that did it, and we saw it, was like, I wouldn't do that. You know, like, kind of cheeky. You're saying something without saying something. Without saying the words. So, I don't know. I try to find ways to say things without saying them sometimes. And I'm drawn from conversations I had and experiences I went through and just putting it out there as far as lyrics go. And then I guess songwriting advice, keeping it on that without getting too deep about relationships and how to treat people. Friend of a Friend was a title for a song that I wrote years before this, but I never finished it because it just didn't feel right. I kept coming back to it and trying to work on it, and it just didn't work. And then when this whole feeling came up, and I was like into Chet Baker, and I wanted to express these strange feelings of not being able to mistreat somebody, because how do you do that to somebody you love? Anyways, you know, when it comes around to that chorus, I'm like, oh my god, this is the thing. I wasn't even thinking about lyrics yet, but I was like, friend of a friend. I'm like, oh, what if you're never going to be anything more than just a friend of a friend? And that's a powerful line. Well, I thought so. That's why I put it in there. And I hope you guys liked it. I'm going to cut this. This isn't even short now. It's 13 minutes, I guess. But if you enjoyed this, I probably got other things to say, or I could focus on specific songs. There's a bunch of things I could say about any of the songs that I recently put out. But I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked this video and it helped, share it with somebody, because all the songwriting advice I was getting was like, here's how you put chord progressions together. Here's how you rhyme correctly. And, we don't need that. All we need is to remember how to express ourselves. And how you can do it in a conversations. Like when you're talking to somebody, you know exactly how to present yourself because you have a personality, and you put your personality out there. And creating a song, probably any kind of art, really, it's about expressing yourself so that the people that you're expressing to get you. So, yeah, I don't know. There's my first video about song advice. And let me say again, I have been doing this for a long time, but I'm not trying to pretend I'm any kind of an expert. I'm just throwing something out there that I wish somebody had told me, you know, when I was having writer's block and I wanted to get some advice for songwriting. So, there you go. Thanks for watching.